with all due respect.
They're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it today.
They're going to
Right?
hear it.
They're
Yeah.
gonna hear it today. With all due respect, we don't know what number this is, but we're doing Erica 2.0. And hey, Erica, your Erica 1.0 is our most watched podcast.
No way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People love you.
That's awesome.
People love the story. Can we just go right into it? Can you update? So when was that date? July?
July
July.
1st was when we released it.
Okay,
Yeah.
last episode was July. It is now January.
Mhm.
And so we're 6 months out. Can
Mhm.
you update us on where your journey's gone? Man, this is so much more than a weight loss journey, isn't it? Like people say
Oh, yes.
this is not. I watch your TikToks, and before you update, I'll update on. I watch you and Gray are the only two people I follow on TikTok.
Us too.
Yeah.
We're so special.
Yeah, it's you too, and I follow you on TikTok because I was like, I don't need any more to follow any more people on anywhere. And before they kill TikTok, I'll probably watch more before they just destroy TikTok. And I hear so many people ask you questions. They're like, what foods did you eat? Well, how did you get motivated? Well, how did you find time to work? They're missing the those tactical things. I can tell right away when you answer questions with people and they ask those questions. I'm like, man, they're so far off from their journey. They're not there yet, right? And I'm like,
They're not there.
those aren't it. Those aren't it. You're no, and you do a great job on it. But update us and where you were in July and where you are now in January.
So I think in July, I had lost a total of 140 pounds. So as of today, my grand total is 163.9. So I've lost almost another 24 pounds since then,
Mhm.
Mhm.
which I know for most people, they're like, that's not very impressive. Listen, when you get down into those lower ranges and you get closer to that goal weight, it becomes very, very challenging to continue to lose weight. And you guys know the math and science are more qualified than myself to speak on it. But because I have this nifty difty tool, my Apple Watch, the lower my weight went, the harder it was, A, to get my heart rate up, and
Oh,
B, to
yes.
burn calories. So I had to work 3 times harder. And so like my entire exercise journey completely changed then because it became less about cardio and more about weights because that was the fastest and easiest way to get my heart rate up and to burn calories. And so, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
running. So I did switch, but
And you also had a broken foot somewhere in there.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I broke my ankle. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So last time I was still working out. You
Mhm.
can still swing a kettlebell with a broken foot. You
Mhm.
can still squat. You can still lunges a little complicated, little more tricky. But you can still work out even with injury. I think, it's kind of when I tell people, if they're severely obese, they said, Erica, I can't walk for 4 miles. Great. Walk for 5 minutes. Like I
Mhm.
need you to get up and start moving. Like I don't care what the time limit is. You have to start that habit somewhere. So my entire exercise routine kind of really started changing because I started looking and going, oh, I used to walk 3 miles every day and I would almost I've burned 400 calories by now and I'm at 215.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
what in the world? And we're
Yeah.
talking about when I walk, I think there maybe is I'm walking a mile in the 14s. Like I'm huffing it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's not like
Yeah.
a casual walk. I'm putting forth a lot of effort. So I had to learn a lot about my body and weights and hit workouts and I kind of had to revert back to what I was doing when I was doing CrossFit and try to pack a punch. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? In
Mhm.
20, 25 minutes, try to get that heart rate up. And then the stair stepper, I joined a gym so that I could have access to more weights.
Yeah, sure. No, good for you. Yeah, yeah. Well, that shows that like you always got to stack on that journey. You got to stack like I'm working at home, I'm walking.
Intensity.
Now I'm lifting.
Mhm.
Now I'm actually getting a gym membership. Now I'm actually going to the gym. Like that journey changes over time. The Erica who started this journey and started exercising, if she would have broke her foot right away, would she have been able to grind through this process as opposed to the Erica who broke her foot after 140 pounds? And I say that as if like, oh, some people are going to be like, well, she's still the same person. No, she's not.
No, I'm not.
No,
No, no,
you've
I'm
never
not.
lost people who say that. Well, she's still like this. No, her name's still Erica.
Yeah, that's,
She still
and I
has three
think
kids.
I
She
still
has
have
the
three
same
kids
husband.
and
Yeah,
I still married, I
yeah,
still
yeah,
work, I still have a
yeah,
job,
yeah.
but the rest of who I am is vastly different. And I talk about this a lot, and a lot of my content on social media is basically the reason why I wasn't successful in my previous attempts to lose weight wasn't because the information that I had wasn't accurate or wasn't effective, or that Weight Watchers, it doesn't work. It does work. Do you know what I mean? Like anything that I tried before worked because it's all caloric deficit plans, right? Like
Mhm.
it's simple math. The issue is that I wanted to remain exactly who I was, and I wanted different results. And that is the basis of it.
I
And
love that.
so when you start breaking that down on a realistic plane, that's hard for people to understand. That I need you to understand that whatever your goals are, here we're specifically talking about weight loss, health, and fitness. The journey starts in your brain, because your behaviors and your discipline and your motivation is informed by what you tell yourself. So, um, and you brought up a very interesting point, Josh. You said, if you would have broken your foot at the beginning of this journey, would you have continued? No, because anytime I was met with opposition or an obstacle, I took it as oh, well, it's not for me. That's a closed door. Like that journey wasn't for me. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't, this is not how it's supposed to happen. And people, that is a limiting belief that people have told themselves over and over again, to get out of doing the hard thing. People are convinced that if something is hard, it's not for them. And that's just simply not the truth. The greater path you have in life, the harder the obstacles are going to be. And it's that way for a reason. So I think there's a big misconception that, I'm still the same person. Not really. I don't talk to myself. I don't get upset about the same things. I don't listen to the same things. I'm not the same person. And everybody in my life has seen that, because sometimes when people are coming to me and they're talking about different struggles they have, and if they just want me to listen, they will very abruptly tell me, I don't want to hear any of your positive mindset stuff right now. Because that's usually what I come at with them. Well, I mean, whether you can or you can't, you're right. You've decided already. You
Mhm.
you guys make up your mind all the time, but in order to have different habits and different behaviors, you're going to have to change the way you think. So it's going to create a lot. It is going to cause some work for you. You are going to have to do some work, some internal work, in order to see some outward changes that start to inform your behaviors and you see the results that you want.
Um, why do you think it is that people didn't want to hear you say, "Oh, I don't want you to tell me any more of that positive mindset"? Is it because like they don't want any of that, wushu, waha? They think it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? They think it's like,
Yeah.
they think it's like,
Hooey wooey, like I'm reading
yeah,
tarot over here.
They
Yeah.
want to
yeah.
hear something easier. They want to hear something easier than it takes hard work.
Why,
I
why,
think
yeah, why is
so.
it, do you think, why do you, is it, do you think they don't like, they're like, "Oh, you're not Tony Robbins." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, Josh, if you're presented with an option of, say that's a really hard obstacle and, okay, for example, traveling to Montana this summer, you can drive the 35 hours or you can fly. What do you want to do? What's going to be easier and
yeah,
more
I
convenient
just
for
want to
you?
get there, dude. I just want to get there. Yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of the same thing for a
Yeah.
lot of people. And I think for you to say that, Erica, and like call that behavior out, I mean, it's true for literally every single person that's ever made a change inside of their journey, myself included. The minute that that hard work clicks for yourself, the minute you change, the minute you understand, God, this is going to be hard, the minute you change.
And I'm going to be honest, I honestly thought it was going to get easier.
Mhm.
So I tell everybody all the time, maybe it was good that I didn't know that at the beginning, because I really thought, you know what? It's kind of like when you start running, you're like, gosh, that mile, whew, it's going to get
Mhm.
easier over time. And the truth of the matter is, no, all of these things don't get easier. I just got a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Like I got tougher at what I could bear and what I could handle. And that's the truth. People are like, oh, does it get easier? No, getting up at 3:50 to 4 o'clock in the morning every morning doesn't get easier. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it going to bed between 8 and 9 p.m. doesn't get easier. Like it's just something that I do
It's who you
now.
are. And it's who you are more
When you
than
say
anything. It's who you are.
last podcast, I take little nuggets and I tell them to people now from our last podcast. And one of the things I've said so many times to people since our last episode is you're gonna have to get some tough skin.
Mm.
I need you, yes. I tell people all the time, I need you to start listening to things that are positive, right? I need you to start thinking about yourself differently. Um, you can do it. Do you want to do it? Um, do you think that there's going to be a result on the other side that is going to make you happy? And we talk about that a lot. There is this thing that everybody, it doesn't matter if it's weight loss or if it's running a marathon or if it's making a certain amount of money or it's becoming famous, whatever it is, everybody is under the illusion that once they reach that place, then finally they're going to be happy, right? That they are going to be happy.
Oh,
And so basically,
oh,
the work is in that I need you to figure out how to be happy now. Like I need
Mm.
you to learn how to become happy now. And that's really the key of becoming and accomplishing that which you want to get. And nobody believes me, but I tell people to practice some of these activities, and this is where it gets hooey, Josh. People are probably like, but it's true. It's work, right? So I said instead of looking at somebody that uh, you want something that they have, okay? And usually when people see somebody that has a nice body or is in the physique that they want or in the weight class or living in the house that they want or driving the car that they want, they usually say, gosh, wow, I wish I could be them, right? And that's kind of where it ends. It's this wish, right? It's this wishful thinking. And I tell them, I need you to do a little bit deeper work. I want you to sit down and write out exactly who you think that person is that has what you want. I want you to write it out. I'm talking about daily habits, who they are, when they wake up, what they spend their time doing.
and
I
that's
need you
not
to,
rhetorical, right? You literally
no,
want them to go get a sheet of paper
yes,
and write it down on a sheet of paper or put it
yes,
in the notes in their phone. I need to make it very clear. People, you're not saying people to be like, oh, let me think about a few of the things of who that person is. No, you want an actual physical sheet of paper with a pen and they write it down.
yes. I want you to
Okay.
create the avatar of the people that you want to be, that have the things that you want. What do they look like? What, and I mean, I'm talking about be specific. When do they get up? When do they go to sleep? What do they eat? What do they drink? What do they spend their money on? How much time do they spend consuming versus creating? I want you to get very, 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 very specific because then you literally have a map of things that you need to prioritize to become the person that has the thing that you want, right? Like you literally have a roadmap. And slowly, if you start working on those things in yourself, you'll become the person that has those things. You can't stay who you are and get where you want to go because if you could, desire would be enough to affect change in us. Just wanting those things would make them happen, right? So because that doesn't work out,
Okay.
you
How,
can't
okay.
hopeology, hope is
Yeah.
needed.
Hopeology. Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
hope is needed, right? Because that's what gives us um it's kind of you have to have hope, but hope isn't a plan. And I try to tell people that all the time. Hope is not a plan. It is needed as humans. We need hope, right? Or we'll become these really negative creatures that never really work towards anything, but it's not a plan. You can't hope that the weight falls off of you if you're not tracking calories and you honestly have no idea how much you're eating in a day. If I ask you specifically, do you know how many calories you're consuming? And you say, I don't know, that's a problem. If you think that
I agree. I
fitness and
agree.
health is a problem, is a
I
priority.
want to give you a hug. I want to give you a hug right now. Through the. I want to give you a hug through this whole right. Okay. Role play. God, Erica, that just sounds like
That was amazing. But
that just
that's
that just
what
sounds like
came
a
to
lot.
mind. What came to mind with that too is the word hope. The first thing that popped into my head, or the first word that popped into my head that hope has to be partnered with is will. There has to be will because the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. Not where there's a hope, there's a way.
Yeah.
Right? That is so huge. And that is exactly the mindset that people get stuck in of like, I want all of these things for myself and I wish to be all of these things, but there is no change. There's no plan to become all of those things.
There never
Discipline.
is.
Discipline came before the motivation, right?
Hmm.
Always.
Yeah. Discipline came before the reward, right?
Yeah. And it's what stays.
Yeah.
So somebody said, no, I bet you've heard this before. Because you give so much, like you're helping people because they ask you, and you're like, hey, this is what I did. I'm telling you what I did. I've done it. You're seeing somebody who's done it, and you tell them, and they go, God, Erica, that sounds like a lot. Answer that.
Yeah.
Answer that.
So
If
I
I
said,
said that to you, so if your best friend came to you and said, I want to do what you did, and you tell them you did it, and they go, God, that just sounds like a lot.
it is a lot, but I promise you that we're all going to suffer from one of two things in life, either discipline or regret, and discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. So you get to pick your hard.
Are you writing a book?
Yes.
This
We're
is
right about,
such
yeah, yeah, we're right about. Well, this is,
like
this is the consequence of self-improvement.
so
What
much
you're
and
showing us
so
is
much introspection.
is the consequence of self-improvement.
Mhm.
You're just sharing it. Um, Another thing I've told people, not just the tough skin, like you're gonna have to have tough skin. Like I used to kind of pity pat around things. Now some people just go, yeah, you're right, you're gonna have tough skin. Um, I'll check in on you in 2 days, right? Like that's what I do, right? I'll check in 2 days. Um, I've had 3 conversations with people that have lost over 70 pounds. You've lost a ridiculous amount of, you lost almost 170, so it's different, but 70 pounds has been this marker. I've had 3 conversations with people, and I want you to speak on this. This was not a gradual thing for them. All 3 of them said, I woke up one day and I was just sick and tired of it. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? They go, well, literally, I woke up one day. My house was a mess. I had trash all over my place. I was out of shape. My doctor said I was probably out of weight. And I've tried 1,000 times to lose weight. And I just woke up one day and I'm just so sick and tired of being this way. And it was a light switch went on. It wasn't a dimmer. It was the doors open. They opened up the door and the sunshine hit their face. And from then on, they never were the same person.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little? Because that's one thing I want people to understand. Because I get so many people that would be like, "Well, I'll just do these little steps and try these little things," and they dip their little toe in the water, and they're not ready to do this, and I don't know about that. That sounds hard. Oh, I didn't lose 5 pounds the first week. I quit. Yeah. Did you like that little? Yeah,
it's
Yes.
true.
yeah, yeah. Right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All 3 of those people, including you, said I woke up one day and there was there was not a plan B.
Mhm.
Can you speak a little bit about the moment, the day, what happened? Can you just speak on that concept a little bit?
Yeah, we all as humans, the one thing I think that gives us security is feeling like we're in control. It's a false sense of security because there's very, very little things that we have control over, but the one thing we do have absolute control over is ourselves. And I woke up one day and now I can look back and say, "Oh gosh, 2 years ago, like I was a dumpster fire of a human being." I don't know that I would have identified it as that at that time, but I really kind of was. And I woke up that day and I will not forget it because I started taking inventory of relationships, of work situations, of my home life, of my marriage, of my relationship with my kids, my health, my fitness, and all of them were suffering. And so it was kind of this huge paramount moment because I was like, it's got to change. It's all got to change now, right? So I started. The first thing I committed to was I started asking myself 3 questions, the same 3 questions for a year, and every day, every single day. You could say I was asking God, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. I was asking 3 very, very simple questions. Um, and that's what started changing me and it started changing my behavior. And I mean, I'll share the questions with you,
Yes.
and these don't have to be your questions. They just, these were
Somebody,
mine.
somebody could adopt these and be like, I don't know where to start, so I'm sharing hers.
Yes, like start and they will come later, whatever yours are. But I asked the first question was, um, am I on the right path to fulfilling my purpose in this life? And if I'm not, I need specifically a brick freaking wall in front of my face. You're going to have to stop me. Like you're going to have to stop me. Just because I felt like I'd put all this work in and like my hands were like empty. right? And so I kind of was like, I can't live like this. This isn't, there's got to be more to life than just this. Um, and I said I wanted that very specifically. The second thing I really was a request for intervention, is that I wanted to be taught how to protect my energy. I felt like a lot of my habits and my mindset was how much I was allowing impact me from other people's drama or their negativity or their mindset or whatever. So I wanted to be taught how to um, protect myself from other people because I couldn't prioritize myself. And that was limiting me, it was holding me back. And the first time it came up that I knew that it was time to move on from a relationship. And you guys have to understand, it wasn't like tumultuous, abusive relationships. It was, I'm not good for them. They're not good for me. And like, I have to let this go. And I thought it was going to kill me the first time, and it didn't. But as soon as I found myself in a similar situation the second go around, it was that much easier to leave. Instead of waiting 7 years, staying in something 7 years, um, it took 6 months. And then the third time it looked very different. It wasn't me leaving, it was me releasing somebody because I no longer had the confidence that I was going to be the person that could lead them to the next stage in their life. So it got very, very clear that I was able to protect myself in that way. And then the third question that I asked every single day was really to teach me what it was to be in gratitude, because there were times in my life that I literally begged to have everything that I had right now. And so I really needed to understand what that looked like, um, in order to take inventory of what I had and to move forward into what I really wanted. I needed to learn how to be grateful for all the things, a house, healthy children, a supportive spouse, a body that could move, like that my fridge was always full of food or I could buy whatever food I wanted. It was just simple, simple things. And those questions really started to inform me and let me know the things in my life that had to change. So, of course, yes, the biggest one on there was my health. I mean, I was 318 pounds. Like that's not nothing, right? Like that's a lot of weight. And I knew that and I wrote down a number that day. I said that I wanted to weigh 155 pounds. That is what I wrote down. I said I want to weigh 155 pounds. And so I started working towards that goal, right? Like I started, but those questions I asked myself every day for a year. And you have to take time and you have to write down, right? Kind of the stuff that you're learning, things that you think you need to change. You don't start asking yourself those questions and don't change. Like you will. So you need to be prepared, because when I asked, am I on the right path to fill my life's purpose here? Um, I can look back now and it's a good thing, but that was 2 years of really, really tough. Like I watched everything that I had built professionally be ripped away from me, like just be ripped out of my hands. So you need to be prepared for what that looks like. I don't know if you can ever be prepared, but you have to be ready for um whatever you ask for.
Mm,
It's gonna come in. And I
yeah.
wouldn't trade it because I'm the person I am today. I now know that, how some people are like, "Oh, I could never get through that." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure I can get through anything at this point."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I'd figure out a way. So there are good and bad things, but I think most people, when we say that you need to do these activities, I don't want you just thinking about them. I need you to sit down and take 5 or 10 minutes every day and write them out so that you can actually start seeing how you think so that you can identify ways that you need to work on and change.
Mhm.
But asking those three things are very powerful. The second year, I just asked one question every day. People love this question. So you get better. Once you start to know yourself, you start asking yourself better questions. But I asked myself, what role do I play in my own suffering? You
Oh
know?
yeah.
Josh loves that.
Yes.
What
Quit.
role do I play in my
Yeah.
own suffering?
Quit doing things that are making your life worse.
Mhm.
I got that. I had that when I've gone through major change, especially I guess personality change. Um, I had somebody say that to me. Can you just quit doing the things in your life that are causing your own pain? He goes, and I remember having said that, and I went, "Wow, that seems really easy. Like
Mm.
I can control that." So I started thinking about the dumb things that I did that made my life worse. And guess whose fault it was? It was me, this guy with two thumbs, right? It was my fault. And I'm like, man, I could probably have a lot more joy if I stop doing the things that are making my life worse.
Mm.
I love that. I continue, please. I want you to keep going. Like I'm
You're like,
yeah,
continue, please.
yeah, I'm learning.
No,
Yeah,
it's so well,
yeah.
it's funny because I think when I share these things with my family, my mom and dad in particular, my mom will say these things to me. I really wish that I had your passion, and I wish that I had your drive, and I wish that I, had all this ambition when I was young. And I'm like, you're not dead. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What do we
Mhm.
and
Also, like
so
you're one half of me. Like, of course you have this in
Yeah.
you
of
somewhere.
course,
Yeah.
like we all do. It's
Yeah.
just, we've accepted. I feel like a lot of times people will come to me to talk about what they're doing in their life because so much of our life is spent in work, right? What we do professionally, because that's the bulk of our day and those types of things. And people really
Mm.
struggle around that area of their life. And um, I always tell everybody if you feel stuck, the one thing I think you should do is prioritize working on yourself, and everything will come into clear view because it's impossible to start working on yourself and not see exactly who you're meant to be.
Mm.
Right. So,
Mhm.
whatever that means for you, if there are relationships that need to end, if there's a job that needs if you start working on yourself, you'll have extreme clarity of what way you need to go. It's it's virtually impossible because you start to know yourself better and start really seeing yourself for who you are and what you're worth. That's the biggest thing, is that I've come to realize that people just don't really think they're worthy
I
of
do,
having the
yeah.
things they
Mhm.
want,
I
or
have
the
yeah.
things that they desire. And I'm like, well, that's keeping you that's a piece of what's keeping you from being successful is that you don't believe that you're going to be successful, like
I
Mhm.
at all.
had a client once say, because he was struggling through some habit change, and he always deflected with humor. Like when he had like 3 or 4 bad days, he's funny. And I've gotten to the point now with him, it's like, ha ha ha, that's cute. But I asked you a question. Like, that's funny. I get it, but it's not funny. I need you to
Mhm.
answer my question. And he said after a while, he goes, man, I know I'm loved. I just don't know if I love myself.
Mhm.
And dude, I almost like fell over in my chair. I was like, that might be your starting point then. Right.
It is.
Yeah.
But and you will get to the place where I have been in situations where, you know, I promise you, when you start to accomplish your goals and you start to love yourself, you'll be able to identify unhealthy situations that are going to keep you from being who you're meant to be, whatever that looks like for you. And you'll be able to look at them and say, I love you, but I love me more.
Mhm.
And that's
And that's not
important.
selfish.
No,
No.
because
That's not selfish.
the longest relationship I've ever had in my life is with myself. And so if
Mhm.
I don't prioritize that, everything else, literally, as I saw when I woke up 2 years ago, will crumble. Like
Mhm.
it really will crumble. You have to have that kind of security. And I think there's people are like, oh my gosh, this is a bunch of hooey wooey. And I'm like, watch what it does.
I
Yeah.
know.
Watch what
Yeah.
it does. When you start speaking to yourself the way that you look at, so I always tell everybody, I have children, right? So this is very easy for me to do. Josh, this is very easy. But Ray, you have a fiance that you love very, very, very much. You have family members, you have friends. You want everything that is good this side of heaven to be given to the
Mhm.
people that you love. You want to withhold nothing from them. If you could make all those things happen for them, you would,
Mhm.
right? You need to feel that way about yourself too. Like people usually like they withhold that. They're like, "Well, I feel like that's true for them. And I know they're not perfect, but I don't know that I really deserve that." And I'm like, "That's got to change, or you're not going to be willing to make the decisions and do the behavior and be disciplined to get you where you need to go, because you're not going to think you're worth it." And you
Mhm.
are. You're 100% worth doing all those things for. So when we talked about last time about doing the hard work, and it could potentially bring up some PTSD, undue trauma, it's necessary to walk through those things. And you will come out better on the other side. But so when people are like, oh, she's still the same person, I'm like, I'm not. Like, and you don't want to test it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't think you want to test it because I think you might be shocked. Like,
Mm.
let everybody say whatever
Mhm.
they want to say about you. Let them. You've
Yeah.
got to get a place where you can, it doesn't matter. Like, this sounds crazy, but I told somebody, if you don't think that you're going to have the capacity to stick to what you need to as far as like your diet and your food goals when you're in social settings, lie to people. I said, there's one thing that I could say that people would back away from. Like, and I said, there's one thing. And so it wouldn't be like, oh, if I told people just outright, well, I've got these fitness goals and that doesn't fit into my calories and it's not high enough in protein.
Yeah.
They would start to argue with me. Do you know what I mean? Like they were
Yeah.
trying to wear me down, right? Like join me in their misery.
Mm-hmm.
But if I said this one thing, they backed off. I say, "Oh man, I already ate before I got here. Like I'm stuffed. I can't do it.
Mhm.
Like I'm stuffed." And people, they went, "Okay," and
Yeah,
they walked.
yeah. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
"Ugh."
yeah.
Like you're gonna have to protect yourself at all costs. Like you're
Lie.
going to have to protect
Lie your
yourself
way
at all.
through it. What are you
Mhm.
telling us is to lie your way through it. I've
That's a
heard it
big
said.
part of it. I
I've heard.
agreed.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Doesn't matter. You
I
don't
just
owe them anything. You
Yeah.
owe yourself everything you have. Like
yes.
you at the end of the day, none of these people are going to be able to pay your medical bills.
Mhm.
Huh, none of them. Not one of them
Mhm.
gonna come rushing to your aid if you're
Yeah.
hospitalized because you're an AFib. Like, no, you owe them nothing.
Mhm.
You owe yourself everything. So you have
Everything.
to do what you have to do to survive. So they will back off. So try, hey, if you're listening, just tell them you already ate before you got there. You didn't
Yeah.
know that there was gonna be food.
That's what we're gonna name this episode. I ate before I got there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard it said, treat yourself like somebody you're responsible for taking care of.
Mhm.
I've said that many times to people, right? I have many clients who are very compassionate, loving people. And anytime somebody else needs help, they run to their help and they knock their own goals down. And they'll be like, oh, well, that person just really needed me for this month. So I didn't work out and I know I've gained some weight back, but they really needed me. And I'm like, there's a balance there. It might be, right? It might be somebody really, you're a parent or you got an older parent and they're fell down and broke their hip and you got to help them. I get it. But you can't throw it all to the wayside,
Mhm.
No.
right? There is a balance, and you can't throw it all to the wayside. Um, Another comment that you made in our first episode that I got the greatest amount of feedback from that people connected to, where like they actually got emotional. They're like, "Wow, I feel that." Was you said food played such a role of joy in your life that if you lost that, where would your joy come from? I know 5 people I can name their names right off the top of the head that I cut that clip and sent it to them, and they went, "Man, that really hits home, dude. That really hits home. If I didn't have that, where would I find my joy?"
Hmm.
And I'm like, man, I didn't realize it until we had our podcast that so many people would watch the whole podcast. Even people that watched it would hit me back and be like, man, when she talked about food bringing their only joy and where would my joy be if I didn't have it? They're like, man, that punched me in the stomach.
Mhm.
That's a hard thing to face because that is a really, really bleak existence to live.
It
Like
is
that
bleak.
is it is bleak because this is real time. My joy came in something that I literally would end up in the toilet. Like, like that's crazy. That's crazy to put that much. Do you know what I mean? Like love in that
Mhm. I've
thing.
never thought about it like that.
It's true. It is true. So I try to be realistic with people and you're laughing because when you tell them that, they're gonna be like, I mean, you're right. Sometimes you have to make those,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, Josh, you're so funny. You're like, Erica. I'm like, it's true. I like, how little did I think of myself that that's where joy was in my life, in my day-to-day
Mhm.
life, what I was
Mhm.
going to eat. Get out of here. That doesn't mean that we should not enjoy food.
Yeah.
But honestly, I tell my kids all the time, my biggest concern for them, is that they don't understand that one of the biggest gifts they've been given is a well-abled body.
Mhm.
That is one of the biggest gifts that they've been given. And they need to be good stewards of it. It doesn't mean that you can't have ice cream or enjoy things, but you need to really understand that your your body, in order for it to do what you need it to do, you've got to treat it like your most precious machine,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and you have got to fuel it appropriately. And so if you don't want to be tired and have meltdowns and energy crashes, and you're going to have to choose to eat better, right? Like, that's if you want to be happy and you want to be kind and you want to be um level-headed, then I'm going to need you to make better food choices. And they laugh. They're like, "Does that really matter?" I'm like, "Yes." Because everybody that has that's a parent that has children understands. You all have seen your kids when they're overtired and they're hangry, the emotional meltdowns that they have
Hmm.
are so irrational because their body isn't getting what it needs to function
Mhm.
properly, right?
I
Hmm.
mean,
So
I attest to that. I'm hangry and I don't think properly when I haven't eaten.
it's true. Like, I need you guys to stop looking at it as restriction.
Mhm.
Like, it's not restriction. All things are permissible, not all things are beneficial. I tell that to
Mhm.
my kids all the time. There's nothing that's off limits. You do too, Gray. I hear you.
Mhm.
This is not the last time you're ever going to have an opportunity to eat a piece of cake.
Mhm.
Stop telling yourself that. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
lie to get you to
You're not
cave.
deprived. You're literally
No,
not deprived.
you have access to whatever food you want at any time, right? There are
Mhm.
no off limits. Everything in moderation. So it's it's powerful. It's different now because I do look at food completely differently. So if people are listening and they don't think that there's a time where they could have just a completely different visceral reaction to food, there is. Because I wake up now and it's completely different. I do think about what I'm going to eat, but it's because I'm like, I need to get 100 to 150 grams protein in today. I don't want it to look like yesterday. I got to plan it out, right? Like, this is what I have. This is what I'm doing. I need to make sure to stay on track. I've got to have a plan.
And I want to say too that your relationship with food ends up getting better because you still have this huge joy for food and good food and when food is beautiful, but your relationship with food is now not like, oh, what can I eat that I know I'm going to love? It's what can I eat that I know is going to fuel me and I'm going to feel my absolute best. And when you realize the power of food and what that power has with your body, like that is the best relationship that you can have, hands down.
The other thing is, I think we need to talk about with what time we have left is that everybody thinks that eating well means that you are not going to enjoy it, and
Mm,
that is just absolutely not true. Okay, it's not true. There are so many things. This is not the same world it was 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Do you know? It's not. You can eat high protein, stay in a calorie deficit within your goal, and enjoy every single thing that you put into your mouth. Period. Dot. The end. You can
mhm.
enjoy it. It can taste good. Okay. There was this big concept, I think, and people still hold on to it, that in order for me to be successful, I have to be miserable. Like, I have to be eating all the things that I don't
Right,
like.
right.
And it's just not true. It is literally simply not true. And I mean this very honestly. If you are starting out, and I'm sure Josh and Gray tell you this, keep it simple.
Mhm.
Keep it super simple. Okay. So, and listen to them because they know what they're talking about. So when I tell you that at the beginning, my diet was incredibly bland, it was because it was what I could handle, right? It's what I could mentally handle, planning, executing, and doing it. It's different now. I can literally make blue cheese dressing out of cottage cheese and get high protein dips that I want now because I have capacity to think about that, to expend the energy to make it, and I'm going to eat it, right? But at the beginning, guys, I mean, when I tell everybody, I was like, no, 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 like, I ate meat and eggs. Like,
Hmm.
that's what I could handle. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
that's what I could handle at that time to get to those
Mhm.
goals. I couldn't handle making flat bread from cottage cheese.
Mhm.
I could not maintain that. That was not where I was. It's different now. It's very different now. I see a recipe and I'm like,
Easy.
I can make
Yeah.
banana bread out of cottage cheese. Let's whip that up. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
stick it in the lunchbox. So, and you get more confident in those things. I've made cheesecake and brownies and cookies and all the things, but at
Mhm.
the beginning, and you can make your own tomato sauce,
Mhm.
right? That doesn't have all
Mhm.
the sugar. You can do all those things to have, but at the beginning, keep it simple. Just
Mhm.
just keep it simple. Please keep it simple and just stick with it. Like the magic is in the work that you're avoiding. Do you know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah,
it
yeah,
it
yeah.
literally is. It is you are trying to you're trying to short yourself
You're
out
trying to
from
cheat
where,
the system.
yeah. And I
Mhm.
was
Yeah,
like, you
you're
can't.
trying to cheat.
It's not working.
You can't cheat this one. There you can't cheat it. I get amazed. I always learn people's perspective on food because I have a different perspective on food my whole life than most people. Um, but when I get around regular people and they know what I do, get around good old civilians, right? And I'll eat in front of them or do something in front of them, and you hear them say like, "You eat that?" or or they're like, "What?" Or you go to a restaurant or like a buffet where you eat and you put something, people go, you eat carbs?
Yeah.
And I
You
go,
need carbs.
I'm a human being. I said, I eat normal food. Like they're amazed that like they're like, you eat that? And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm a person. I'm a human. I eat, and I always tell people, I eat normal foods, y'all. Like I
Real
don't
foods.
and I still just get amazed at people that think like they're like, you eat bread? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I ate a sandwich too, two of them,
Yeah.
right?
It's delicious.
And
Mhm.
it's great. Like they're like, oh, you eat that? And I'm like, I eat normal foods, y'all. Or like someone else will be eating something and I'll just see it and they're like, I know. And I'm like, what do you? I didn't say
I'm not
anything.
judging you. I don't give
That's
a
That's
your
you,
shit.
bro.
that's your own
I don't care.
journey.
That's your oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. That's what are you
Unless you're
guilt?
paying me, I don't care what you put in
Yeah,
your
if you're
mouth.
unless you're guilty, are you
I
guilty
mean,
about something?
yeah, I was like, unless it's like a federal crime, like knock yourself out,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you didn't
Yeah.
kill it. You didn't kill a bald eagle. You're like you're not eating a bald like you know what I'm saying? And so what that tells me is these people have a total misconceived idea of what it is to eat healthy.
Mm.
Well, they think that I'm over here miserable and I'm like, everything that I eat, I love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like that's not true. So when I tell people over and over again, if you do not like seafood, please do not create a meal plan in which there is seafood on it because you will not maintain it.
Mhm.
Like please, please, please. If you don't like eggs,
Yeah.
great. Don't eat eggs. But we're
Yeah.
gonna have to figure out what else we can eat besides eggs that get you to where
Yeah.
you need to go. You don't like
Mhm.
cottage cheese? Great. Don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
do you like Greek yogurt?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, do you like chia seeds? Like,
Mhm.
what can we
Yeah.
do to help you out? They're also I get very frustrated, the amount of people that DM me and they want me to create meal plans, and I'm like, "Do you know who made a meal plan for me?" Because the internet is full of thousands of free resources to help you orchestrate your own tailored meal plan to keep you in your calories and your
Mhm.
protein to reach your goals. And it would take me 3 hours of consultation, which would be incredibly expensive for you,
Hmm.
for me to learn that about you
Hmm.
to create that plan.
Yeah. We don't
So,
create meal plans. No. No.
Mm-mm.
no.
Yeah.
So,
No.
like, I think,
I do like a sample 7 day just to show
Yeah.
people what
Here's what
that
a day
looks like.
might look like.
Mhm.
But I've had clients get real defensive. I had one lady get real defensive. She did her intake form. We had a conversation. She goes right off the bat, it's like, hey, how are you? Good. She goes, I won't eat egg whites. I
great.
go,
Okay.
awesome. Don't plan on changing that. I'm like, she's like, I'm just letting you know I won't eat them. I'm like, whoever told you you had to lied to you.
Yeah, you don't
Mhm.
have to.
Yeah. I'm
Like,
like, okay, I don't, yeah, I won't, yeah, I don't, that's cool.
but guys, I mean, there are and I mean this honestly. If there are no other, like, if you're like, I don't eat meat, no eggs. I hate cottage cheese. Greek yogurt's disgusting. I'm like, great. You are going to need to research flavorless protein powder, and we're going to have to mix it into everything that you eat to get your protein content up. Do you know what I mean? Like we can, if there's a will, there's a way.
There's a way.
But I need you to figure that out, because if you're dairy free, you can't use the flavorless protein powder that I use. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if you don't do X, Y, and Z, like, so that's why when people come to me, I'm like, it literally would be very expensive for me to get to know you in order to do that. And the way that I can tell you you're going to be successful is if you research it and you execute it and you do it.
You have to do the work. Like when people hire us, they think we're going to do like, no, I'm going to guide you and give you strategies, but like you're going to have to go grocery shopping and you're going to have to look at weights, and you're going to have to look at labels, and like I might give you a sample list. Like we created a shopping guide with a macro list. You know what it was?
Perfect.
You know what it was? It was my shopping list.
But that works. I mean, and I can give people my shopping list. There's squash, zucchini, there's broccoli, there's I can tell you exactly what we purchase every
week.
Every week.
I know exactly. It's in Instacart. It's already there.
Bam.
Right? Bam. And they go, and people are like, man, this is pretty thorough. How'd you figure this out? I said, well, it's just mine. So I just made a copy of it. It doesn't have to be yours, but here's what vegetables are and what fruits are and what proteins are and what I buy. And, if that's a starting point for you, yours can change over time. I said, but you're going to have to do the work, because I actually had a client one time and she ended up never being a client. We did a consult. She filled out the intake form. She did the consult. We had a conversation. Her first question was like, how are you going to keep me motivated? I said, I'm not. And this was like, well, this was great. I said, appreciate you. Right?
I can't want it more for you than you want it for you.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to work. And but do you not just get shocked? There literally is, let's say you don't cook for yourself. You have no plan of ever making any meal for yourself at home. Okay. Your whole life is you're on the go and you eat out. I'm like, guess what? There are entire creators that show you low calorie, high protein restaurant and fast food hacks. You could spend 3 days knocking it out, figuring out your favorite, and you could have a meal plan ready, go. Like there's nothing out there for you. There's nothing that's not out there for you. Literally, there's no excuse that you have coming at me that we can't plug and play. I need to figure out, and I'm sure you guys do this. We need to figure out what your basic metabolic rate is, right?
Usually body weight times 10 is usually it.
Yes. I was like, I got to figure out your activity level, and then we got to be in deficit. Subtract 500 from that. Let's go. Like, let's go. And then plug and play. Like I do better at high protein. Do you guys do better at high protein?
Everybody does. Yeah. I think
because I stay full, and it takes, and my body is working harder to burn it. Right. Like I was like, so I can pretty much guarantee you that you too are going to have success with higher protein if you prioritize protein. People think that when we say that, Josh, that I'm like, you're going to be eating a ribeye 3 times a day. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what they think.
10 ounces of chicken every single meal.
Every day. Every single day. And I'm like, oh gosh, guys, like Google, just ask Siri.
Yeah.
Go on Chat GPT.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
GPT.
That's how I meal plan now for people. I literally show people, I'm like, this is how simple it is for you to say, hey, Chat GPT, I don't eat dairy. I need 150 grams of protein every single day. What can I eat? It'll give it to you. So that to me too, it's like, there is no excuse at all. There never has been. There's really no excuse for me at all now with people that are like, I don't know what to eat. I'm like, okay. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't think we do not have an information shortage issue. We don't. A friend of mine was just trying to be nice and help a friend of hers. And she's like, hey, I got a friend that wants to start. I sent her a workout in macros. I'm like, great. I go, I can go online and Google a good workout plan at home and what should my macros be. That's not her problem. And this is actually somebody I coached before. So I knew her problems, right? She's like, well, she really asked me to help her get her macros and her workouts. I said, hey, she has thousands of those. Her problem is not having a workout and her macros.
Mm-hmm.
Her problem is she doesn't make plans. She's depressed. She
Mm-hmm.
eats when she's depressed. Um, she drinks too much. She makes a lot of excuses. And until she's ready to change all those things about herself, you could give her a workout from the most anything you want, and it's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It never will work for her. She's got
I
bigger problems than that.
I did want to touch on something you said at the very beginning, Erica, when you were saying, I'm only down another 24 pounds, and that might not be impressive to some people. I would guarantee you about 95% of people would be like, shit, I wish I could lose 25 pounds in 6 months.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about habits right here, I want you to, because I know we had emailed back and forth, let's talk about why people aren't sticking to habits. I want you to tell us the habits that you think, we've kind of talked about what you do now, but the habits that you think are the most important for people that want to lose that first 25 pounds, that second 25 pounds, or maybe they're in your same boat right now and they're like, I'm at 125 and I really want to get to 150.
Okay, so these are it, and these are not groundbreaking, guys. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. Here we go. You need to prioritize sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big problem for a bunch of you. That is a huge problem for a bunch of you. You're not even getting 6 hours of sleep. Like, you're not. Like, I can't tell you how many people, and they're like, you're telling me you go to bed at 8 o'clock to get up at 3:50, 4 o'clock? I'm like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
do. I do. I really do. And I get good sleep. And guess what? As soon as I lay down, guess what happens? I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out. So you need to prioritize sleep. You need to get on a schedule. Someone asked me, do you get up at 4 o'clock on the weekends? No, but I get up at 6,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, that's 2 hours extra for me. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm, and sometimes I'm still up at 4 o'clock. I just kind of dilly dally, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, to kind of feel like it's a different pace than, um, Monday through Friday. But yes, I do very similar things 7 days out of the week. Um, and nothing really can change that. Even we went to Charlotte for New Year's Eve, and so we were out late. We stayed there till midnight watching the Avett Brothers, and we're like racing back to the hotel. I go to sleep, and I'm up, and I'm gonna go work out. Like, it's gonna happen. I don't care if it's New Year's Day or not. I worked out on Christmas morning. It's gonna happen. Like, I need that for me.
Hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to. I don't have to, but that's a habit that is just, it's really ingrained. Like,
Hmm.
it's gonna happen.
Hmm.
And some people also, they think that every workout looks the same. Like, when I say I'm going to work out, sometimes on those days I'm just moving,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm just moving so that I'm not sedentary all day. So it looks like a rest day, right? Like, it really does look like a rest day, but I'm still moving. You have to have a plan. I need you
Hmm.
guys to have a plan,
Hmm.
specifically around what time you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. And I need you to commit to sticking to that, right? Like, there is some really beautiful stuff that happens when you start eating consistently at the same time, right? And you know exactly what you're going to eat. So stock the fridge.
Yeah.
Stock the fridge, have some options. I don't care what it is. And then um you need to have things around you that are good snacks all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I do not get tempted to go by the gas station and get a Reese cup. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, I need you to have it in your
Mm-hmm.
car,
Yeah.
in your office. I need
Yeah.
you to have those things accessible at all times. Um, and then you got to drink some water. You guys are
Yeah.
dehydrated as
Yeah.
heck. You're not really that
Yeah. Yeah.
hungry. Like, you're
Yeah.
not really that hungry. When
You're
I say
dehydrated.
I get up in the morning and I drink 32 ounces of water before I work out, that is legitimately, I promise you to the good Lord, that is what I do. And I drink a lot of water. And when I wake up in the morning and I start drinking that, I'm I'm famished. Do you know what I mean? Like I can
Mhm.
feel like the life coming back into me just by drinking that water. And somebody's like, that's my goal for the entire day. And
32
you
ounces.
and I was like, that's not enough. Okay, so that might
Mm.
also be the
Yeah.
issue. It's like that's not enough
Probably.
water. That's not enough
Mhm.
water. Um, and that will help some of your hunger, right? Is
Yeah.
that I
Mhm.
think you're really thirsty, you're not hungry.
Mhm.
And you know what I mean because when you get a bunch of water into your system and you needed it, you can feel your belly get full.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can feel
Mhm.
your belly get full and it kind of
Water
does.
stabilizes my energy.
Oh,
If I don't have
100%.
enough water, I'm like, I'm way out. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
let me be really clear. You guys, Josh and Gray may not like this, but I'm going to be honest with you all. I love diet soda.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper. Yep.
I will never live in a world
Yeah.
where I cannot have it.
Yeah.
But that is
Diet
not the
Dr. Pepper.
majority of my
Yeah.
hydration,
Yeah.
and that's where some of your brains need
Yeah.
to switch.
Yeah.
You don't need to drink. I understand that it's 0 calorie, right? Like I get that. But like I don't need the only thing you're drinking from sun up to sundown is 2 cups of coffee and then 6 12-ounce cans of soda, diet soda in the day. That's
Yeah.
another part of your problem. So we're not here telling you, like we said, all things are permissible, not all things are beneficial.
Mhm.
We got to get some water in. We got to get some water in.
Mhm.
Those are the habits. And then I speak very, very kindly to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Dude, like when I tell people
Wow.
they don't, what do you listen to? I listen to people that think that they are the crap. Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
I tell myself the same thing. Like there's
Mhm.
nothing that I can't do. And those are the habits
Yeah.
that
I have bad
stick.
self-talk. And you know who else has bad self-talk?
Who?
My kid. If I do, especially sporting event like in jujitsu, if I screw up and he'll be at jujitsu, I'll get mad because I screw something up. I didn't get it right. And he's like, Daddy, why'd you get that wrong? It's like, because I suck. I shouldn't even be here. And like, because I suck at the sport. And I'm a black belt. Like, I'm proficient in this thing. Like, I'm very good. And people are like, if you think you're bad, like, I just started 6 months ago. Like, you've been
Like
doing
I've
this for
never
years.
done it. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I suck at jujitsu,
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like,
Yeah.
my kid will do something sports wise, and I'll see him, like, miss a shot in soccer. He's like, I suck. And I'm like, oh, God, that's me. He's hearing myself talk. Right. One of the things you talked about is the schedule. You got to have something planned. One of my favorite ones with people is they're like, I didn't get breakfast today. I'm like, why? It's like, had to be at work an hour early. And I'm like, well, when did you find out you had to be at work an hour early? They're like, last month. And I'm like, so you've known for a month you had to be at work an hour earlier today? I'm like, yeah. So it wasn't like someone called you panicking on the phone and they said, you're late for work, get your ass in. And you ran to, I said, you've known for a month. Yeah. I was like, all right, say that to yourself. You've known for a month that you had to be at work an hour early today, and you still didn't plan to maybe have something ready when you went or something to get up a little early. Like yeah, the math ain't mathing here for
Mm-mm.
me, right? Or like I didn't get lunch today. I was at work all day.
Set an alarm.
I'm like, I don't. What do you didn't you? Yeah, me too. I you can bring. I'm getting confused by these
No.
statements from these people now. Like I'm like,
No,
okay,
nobody gives me a lunch break either, but I'm eating every
yeah,
day.
I
I
don't
just want to
understand.
let everybody know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everybody. Yeah, most people are like, yeah, I was at work all day. I had 8 hours. Oh, did you bring? Yeah, I didn't bring it. Well, why? I said, well, I didn't have anything at home because I didn't go. Like it goes back to those strategies of you got to go to learn how to shop and then prepare food and then
Mhm.
bring it with you. Like you got to work all that.
Mhm.
Um, I know we could go on forever, Erica. Um, can you're on when I post this? Can I just post? You post mostly on TikTok, right?
Yeah, but
For another 5 days.
Yeah,
yeah, we probably gonna have to
4 days.
switch that up.
yeah. We
Yeah.
might. Yeah, yeah. The Chinese are gonna won't let us use their toys anymore. I guess I don't know
I don't
what's
think
gonna
it's
happen
that.
there.
I don't
No,
think that's the
that's not
issue.
it.
Is that not
I
it?
think that our government doesn't want us to use their toys.
Yeah, I don't
I
know what it
actually
is.
I think it's more complicated than that. What's everything
Yeah,
usually about?
money. Someone's not
Money.
getting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if Congress got
Mm-hmm.
paid from TikTok, we'd have great access to TikTok.
Well, there's
Um,
information overload on
Well,
TikTok. We're getting smarter.
I think if
well,
Zuckerberg got paid from TikTok, we wouldn't have a
we
problem,
would.
if you
Oh
know what I
boy, if
mean.
that guy doesn't flip flop. Um, yeah, right. I tell you, if yeah, I'm
So
just
we don't know. We're gonna
we
post
don't know.
it.
Yeah,
Where
I'm
were you
gonna.
gonna post it?
I almost went there. I am going to share when we share this. If TikTok is still here when we post this, we'll post. I'm going to post a link to your TikTok and a link to maybe your Instagram. You might be on Instagram more after this thing's. I don't know. I want to make sure
Yeah.
people know how to follow you because I always listen to your stuff, and
Mhm.
I think your stuff's funny because like I can tell it's off the hip, and,
Always.
and it's always because somebody asked you a question. You'd be like,
Mhm.
"Hey, my name's Erica. I've lost 163.5 pounds, and you're just gonna have to get tough skin. Hope you have a good day.
Literally, I'm like,
Have a good
yeah,
day.
like
Yeah,
it, and
yeah,
I mean it sincerely, but
yeah,
it's everybody is looking for this big lightning bolt, and I'm like, it, you guys, it's 15 minutes worth of work, but I just need you to do it every day.
yeah,
That,
Mhm.
that's it. Like
yeah."
you're wanting to give me 8 hours in one day, and then that be enough to you never have to put forth effort again, and that's just not the way that it works.
Or they're going to want to work out for a day and wake up and be like 5 pounds. I didn't lose 5 pounds in a
Mhm.
day.
I'm skinny.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I had a lady at jujitsu who I didn't even know this. What's cool about what we do is the podcast is I don't know who watches or who likes. So I just go on through my day and I'll have people stop me and be like, "Oh, I watched your podcast episode," and I'm like, "Oh, it's cool. It's awkward, but I'm out." Like it's like, "Ooh, somebody talked to me in public. I'm out." Right? I get nervous. This lady in jujitsu said she watched our podcast and she's like, "Yeah," she's like, yeah, I've been really working on my nutrition. She's like, I only lost 40 pounds in a year. And I go, whoa, 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 whoa. I go, pump the brakes, lady. I said, you've lost 0.7 pounds a week for a year. She's like, yeah. I'm like, that's pretty good. I go,
Mhm.
you preface that by only 40 pounds in a year. I go, that's awesome. I was like, change your mindset.
Mhm.
Because she's like, because she wanted to tell me her story, but then didn't want me to be like, "Nah, I guess that's a good story, right? I've lost 40 pounds. She's like, I've only lost 40 pounds in a year. I'm like, what are you talking
That's
about?
awesome.
I'm like,
Mhm.
that's incredible. And I was like, and I anytime people ask that, I ask more. I was like, well, what did you tell me two or three things that like I always ask, like, tell me two or three things you did that really made a big impact. I don't just be like, great story. Thanks for watching the podcast. Right. Fist bump. I go, I want to turn that into something valuable. I said, what are two or
Mhm.
three things you did? They're like, yeah, just I committed to doing jujitsu and exercising and doing something every day. And she goes, honestly, I just started cooking all my meals at home and making sure I get enough protein. And I'm like, okay, here's what I want
The
you to do. I
boring
said,
shit
I want
works.
you to do that 365 days in a row next year.
Mhm.
I said, you're good. I said, you just keep doing what you got to do.
Mhm.
Because she
Mhm.
actually was like, well, what if she's like, because she talked about hiring us. Like, what if you, I said, you know what? I said, I'm not, no, no. I said, I could easily take your money. I said, but you're losing zero point 0.7 pounds doing this and figuring it out on your own. I go, here's what. I said, here's how to get a hold of me. If you ever think about quitting and you're having hard days or you stall out, maybe you hire us for 3 months. I said, but at this point, like you're doing so good, like you don't need me.
Just keep
Mhm.
going.
Just keep
Mhm. Just
going.
keep going.
I goes,
Mhm.
because here's what you're going to pay me money to do every month. Good job.
Mhm.
Keep going. Like I said, I really don't want to mess with what you got going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Mhm.
want to get in your way. Like right now, I just get in your way.
And I think that's, if you're listening, Josh and Great, they just want to help people. And I know that that sounds very cliche, but this is an industry where people will sign you up and take your money and treat you like a dime a dozen, and you'll be exactly where you are 3 years from now,
Mm,
a year from now. Or you'll have people that are going to tell you hard truths and hold mirrors up to you and want to hold you accountable, and are going to tell you when it's time for
mm.
them to not be, like taking your money. And that's rare.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
guys, that's very rare. Like people, there are some people that I heard this and then we got to go because we're
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
jibber
Yeah.
jabbing away.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, I heard, I think it was a comedian. it might have been Yvonne. I don't remember. He said,
Great dude. Yeah, I love his stuff. Yeah.
he said, I knew that I had found what I was called to do in comedy when I would get up and I would just bomb. And I was like, I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like, regardless of what the outcome was, he loved doing it. And I feel
Mhm.
that is true with you guys. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
you're going to keep
100%.
showing up. You're going to, you know, still fight for people. And honestly, what they're teaching you all to do is to fight for yourselves too.
Yeah. What was do you watch his podcast? Do you watch his stuff? Yeah, he really gets, hey, he gets, not just comedian, he gets real.
Mhm.
Like he
He's
gets like
funny.
personal, but he gets very, I think my funniest one with him was when somebody, you know, he's clean and sober, and somebody's like, what was your favorite kind of alcohol? He goes, my favorite kind of alcohol, you know, he got that was, yeah, my favorite kind of alcohol was, yeah, cocaine. And I'm like, that guy kills me, bro. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
hey,
I have a good note we can end on.
yes.
Perfect.
I saw this on some social media platform and it really resonated with me. And speaking of substance and alcohol, it said, do you think an addict wakes up and looks at their circumstances and the fact that they're broke keep them from their next high? No. So do not let a junkie or addict out hustle you from your goals today.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, don't
I
let
love
it
it.
happen.
All
Mhm.
right, y'all.
I love
Hey,
that.
I love you both very much.
Thanks, Erica.
We'll be
With all due respect.